The inheritance. The letter arrived just after midnight, hand-delivered, its wax seal still warm, as if the sender's breath clung to it. By dawn, I'd become sole owner of Ravenshollow Manor, a place I knew only from whispers and nightmares I'd never confessed. You'd think an unexpected inheritance would feel like fortune. Instead, it felt like a verdict. Boom. Thunder cracked above the taxi as I climbed the iron gates 2 nights later. The driver refused to wait. His taillights vanished down the valley road, swallowed by mist that smelled of peat and old secrets. I crossed the courtyard alone, every footfall echoing against wet cobblestone. Somewhere inside, a clock I hadn't wound in decades kept perfect time. I was never supposed to return. Mother fled this house before I could walk, carrying nothing but a locket and a half-finished lullaby. She warned me that our blood was thin ice beneath thick darkness, poetry I'd chalked up to eccentricity until the will named me the last Carrick of Ravenshollow. Now rain hissed against cracked stained glass. The front doors groaned open under my hand, exhaling a gust that smelled of damp velvet, extinguished candles, and something coppery beneath. Portraits lined the grand hall, stern-jawed patriarchs, fragile-eyed brides, children who never reached 10. Their painted pupils tracked me in perfect unison. Gold frames trembled as if the canvas lungs inside them still drew breath. From the gloom, Great Aunt Sybil emerged, bone-thin, veiled, alive against all rumors. "You shouldn't have come," she rasped, voice a dry page turning. "The house remembers." Her candle sputtered, throwing skeletal shadows across cavernous ceilings. I tried to laugh. It died in my throat. In the study, beside a hearth filled with soot-choked roses, waited the true prize, a mahogany chest draped in spider silk lace. Sybil's crooked key clicked finality into its lock. Inside lay 3 items. 1, a bundle of letters, ink the color of old bruises, addressed to any living Carrick. 2, a tarnished silver astrolabe, its gears frozen at an impossible constellation. 3, a charcoal portrait of a boy whose eyes were black voids scratched straight through the paper. Lightning illuminated the portrait. For a blink, I swear the boy's mouth curved into a grin. Sybil recoiled. "He knows!" Candle wax spattered her wrist like pale blood. Read nothing aloud, and never turned the astrolabe. She pressed the chest shut and fled, footsteps fading into corridors that swallowed sound. Left alone, I listened. To the timber sighing, to wine threading through broken panes, to the hush between heartbeats when the house seemed to inhale mine. Dust motes spiraled like star ash. The air tasted of walnut oil and grave soil. I unwrapped the first letter. "We are bound by iron and ink. What we inherit, we obey. Should you break the circle will break you. Nothing else, save a sticky smear where a sign-off should be, as if the author's name had been wiped away by a trembling thumb." From the great hall, clocks chimed 13. Locals call Ravenshollow the house that learned to bleed. Legend says Sir Alaric Carrick, my ancestor, made pact with a nameless shadow for untold wealth. Each generation must pay the interest in suffering, or the debt comes due all at once. Harvests failed when a Carrick left unpaid. Newborns arrived still as dolls. Animals turned inside out on winter mornings. The story always ends the same. The heir returns, thinking the tale's mere campfire smoke. Then the house closes its doors. I reminded myself I was a modern man. Stories are scaffolds we build around coincidence. Still, I could not ignore the click-scrape of unseen nails behind the wainscoting, tracing my path room to room. Days blurred, rain never ceased, sunlight found no purchase. I explored by lamplight, mapping my lineage in mold and memory. In the nursery, I discovered a diary wedged behind a cracked music box. June 3rd, 1894. Father says the sky will turn if I spin the star wheel. But the boy in the portrait tells me Father is afraid. He says the wheel keeps the black-eyed ones asleep. The entry stopped with a streak as though the pen had been yanked mid-word. Below it, dried droplets the shade of rust. Across the hall, another diary. This one, Sybil's youthful hand. 1952. Mother slaughtered the peacocks tonight. Said their screams drowned the whispers in her skull. She's buried the astrolabe again. I dream of clocks inside bones. Every diary agreed on one point: never turn the astrolabe. Yet none explained what the turning did. Nights, I felt the house reorder itself. Hallways lengthened, staircases ended in brick, portrait glass fogged from breath that was not mine. I woke to muddy footprints circling my bed, toes pointing inward, and always, just at the edge of lantern glow, the portrait boy, somehow perched atop a dresser or peeking from a shattered mirror, his paper form folding to follow. His eyes remained holes scraped through time. I confronted Sybil during a power flicker. "What did Alaric bargain?" I demanded. She shook, age and dread entwined. "He traded our endings," she whispered, "so we relive them forever. Each descendant inherits the moment of our first sin. Then I'll end it, burn the house." Sybil laughed, a brittle shriek. Fire cannot touch a promise written in blood older than flame. Sleep abandoned me. On the fifth dusk, thunder rattled the chandeliers loose. Crystal shards tinkled like distant applause. I carried the astrolabe to the atrium, a glass-domed sepulchre where vines strangled marble cherubs. The thing pulsed cold in my palm, teeth of silver gears yearning to bite. "Don't turn it," the diaries pleaded in memory. But death by slow dread felt worse than any unknown terror. I turned the astrolabe. Gears shrieked alive, spinning to an astral map that didn't exist. Constellations crooked and hungry. The manor responded with a deep, wet crack, as if its spine snapped free of reason. Portraits blistered, their subjects screamed without mouths. Floorboards bucked. From every vent, a child's voice chanted a rhyme I'd never learned yet somehow remembered. "Round goes the wheel to salt the seed, blood for the shadow, soul to feed." Fog streamed through keyholes, coiling into a figure. The boy, now three-dimensional, skin the blue-white of freezer burn, eye sockets pits of rotating night. He spoke in a chorus of ancestors. "You have restarted the debt, heir. Interest is compound." His grin split wider than jawbone allowed. I ran. Corridors morphed into a cardiac maze, walls pumping, portraits bleeding oil. Ancestral wails throbbed through pipes. Doorways led back to the atrium, again and again. The boy growing taller, each return. Sybil intercepted me beside the weeping angel statue. Her veil torn, she brandished an iron dagger etched with the Carrick crest. "Only blood closes the wheel," she said, and thrust the dagger into her own chest. Her body collapsed. The manor shuddered, momentarily stunned. The boy snarled, form flickering like faulty film. Sybil's final act had bought me a breath. Gasping, I recalled one diary line. He buried the astrolabe again. But where? My pulse answered, beneath our feet. I pried open a cellar grate and descended into root-haunted dark. Here the walls were not wood or stone, but compressed bone, marrow lattices glistening. At the corridor's end, a crypt. Alaric's tomb. His effigy clutched a star-shaped cavity exactly the astrolabe's size. Behind me, footsteps of tar approached. Holding the astrolabe, I hesitated. Return the wheel, restore the pact, or smash it and invite unknown ruin. The boy's whisper slithered. "Choose, heir. The debt or the extinction. There is mercy in repetition." My mother's lullaby drifted unbidden, a tune of broken circles mended. I raised the astrolabe high and brought it down on marble. Metal screamed, gear teeth scattering like silver beetles. A pulse of night swallowed the crypt. Darkness thickened, viscous wrapping limbs. The boy erupted from it, now colossal, eyes twin novas. Memories not mine poured into me. Centuries of Carrick horrors, every bargain, every newborn sacrificed, every spouse driven to madness. The weight of lineage crushed my ribs. I fought to remember my name beneath the title ancestry. With a ragged roar, I plunged the jagged remnants of the astrolabe into the boy's chest. The void inside him inhaled the metal, and for an instant his eyes brightened with mortal fear, then burst into cinders. The manor shrieked, foundations folding inward like closing jaws. I clawed up the stair, through collapsing halls where portraits burned with silent applause. At the threshold, night air greeted me, tainted, electric. Ravenshollow buckled, yet did not fall. Its silhouette settled into new angles, as though accommodating a fresh absence. Authorities arrived at dawn to a mansion intact, owner delirious. They found no body, no astrolabe shards, only a chest empty save for one fresh envelope. It bore my name. I opened it as paramedics checked my pulse. The wheel may shatter, but the circle is carved in bone. We will return when the heir forgets what this letter says. No signature, just a smear of ash exactly the shape of a boy's grin. They asked what burned my hands. I could not explain the frostbite. I left Ravenshollow unlocked, curtains billowing like lungs. Yet, as the ambulance pulled away, every window lit in unison, as if someone inside, small and patient, had just opened each lantern to guide me home. Some legacies have no heirs. They only have victims.